Powhatan, Virginia.
Bill and I were going to be married in a couple of months, and we were driving to Richmond to pick up my wedding dress.
Well, I saw a car coming toward us. Then I see it start to cross the center line.
Mommy's boy, no way.
They hit head-on, going about 55 miles an hour apiece, and the cars were just demolished. I just thought there's no way anybody could have lived through that.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Help's on the way. Look at me.
Appreciate your help.
I can be more.
Companies 1 and 2.
Virginia State Police Trooper Buddy Davis was not far away.
Please respond to a head-on 1050, Route 60, west of Sawyer Creek. I think it's bad.
From working prior crashes, and because I could hear it in the dispatcher's voice, I knew they probably got a very distressed call from 911.
Members of the volunteer fire department arrived within 10 minutes, followed by a Powhatan rescue squad. Paramedic Lynn Beach went to check on the driver of the vehicle that had crossed the center line.
There was a person in there that had been covered up, and I asked if they were sure, and they said yes, that she'd been checked twice and there was no pulse.
It was the red car that really drew my attention. I knew whose vehicle that was sitting there, but I just kept ignoring the fact Mike and I were good friends. We developed a friendship starting in the academy as recruits together. Realizing it was their car sort of set things in slow motion for me. The car crumbled. It just accordion.
Take care of him, okay? Are you his wife? Yes. Okay, I want you to calm down. If you're calm, he's calm. Okay?
You okay?
Buddy, oh my God, buddy.
Look, man, calm down. She said, "We haven't told anybody yet,
It's gonna be all right. He's gonna be okay.
but I'm about 3 months pregnant."
Pregnant? Okay, all right, you gotta start thinking about
My wife and I had just found out
Ma'am?
that my wife was pregnant.
Start thinking about it. You okay?
And I'm looking at Mike, and he's not much better off than what I looked at in the other car.
Let these guys take care of you, okay? I'll be back. I'll be back in a minute. Okay?
No, don't leave.
Okay, come in. This is some oxygen, okay? This is gonna help.
When we continue,
When they got him on the backboard, the seizures stopped, and it just, an eerie calm. I mean, it was just nothing. I thought, well, that's it, you know.
when Virginia State Trooper Buddy Davis responded to a serious car crash involving his close friend and fellow trooper Michael Eskenazi, there was little he could do but watch helplessly as rescuers worked to free Michael and his wife from the twisted wreckage.
I was starting to come apart, and I knew it, and I didn't want her to pick up on it.
Not responsive. He had a head injury. My gut was telling me he wasn't going to make it. And here his wife is sitting in the car, trapped too, and she's seen him die before. I was scared for him and his wife and the baby that might never see his father.
Frances Eskenazi had been riding in the front passenger seat of the car driven by her husband, Michael.
They all just kept trying to tell me, you know, that Michael was going to be okay. He was in the best care.
I felt like everything I was saying was being hypocritical. Really not thinking he's going to make it. When they got him on the backboard, the seizures stopped. And it just, an eerie calm. I mean, it was just nothing. I thought, well, that's it, you know.
Michael, you'll be okay. Yeah.
All right, man, you're gonna be all right. You hang in there.
The Med-Flight helicopter crew arrived, including Chief Flight Paramedic Bill Bolt.
The rescue squad had done a lot of good basic life support before we got there. But the patient was combative
His breathing was shallow and rapid. His pupils were unequal in size. He obviously had a serious head injury.
Hang in there, buddy. They're getting you there. Hold on.
We transported him to the aircraft in the back of an ambulance and gave him a fast ride to a trauma center.
Do you have any response with intubation?
25-year-old Michael Eskenazi was taken to Medical College of Virginia hospitals and examined by emergency physician William Loudon.
He was comatose. His neurologic exam was a score of a 6 out of 15, which categorized him as the most severe group of head injuries.
Wiggle your toes down here for me. Wiggle your toes.
Michael's wife, Frances, was taken by ambulance to the same hospital, where she was diagnosed with a ruptured diaphragm, broken ribs, and a torn colon.
I'm worried about my baby.
Your baby's actually doing very well.
Yeah, get a good flow in that DPL fluid.
The CAT scan did in fact show that he had an actual blood clot deep in the substance of his brain. It would not have been a good place to operate on. It would have left him with very, very severe deficits.
Ortho does need to fix this.
The decision was made to try and wait out the injury.
Michael's mother and father, Gloria and Robert Eskenazi, were driven to the hospital by one of his fellow troopers.
That was the longest trip I ever took in my life. And when I walked in the door, I saw lots of state troopers. I hear people all around going, "That's the mother, that's the mother." And no one would tell me anything about Michael's condition. They didn't know.
He could wake up in a day or a week, or he could wake up in a month, or he might not wake up at all.
Dr. Loudon finished giving us the cold, hard facts that Michael had had brain injury and that there was swelling and that they had to relieve the pressure by drilling. And of course, my wife was a basket case at that time, and pretty much so was I. When I saw him for the first time, you stare at him. You don't know what to say. He was down in there. He was down in there. I knew he was there. Wherever he was trying to get out.
I looked at him, he was beautiful. He was absolutely beautiful. He was breathing. That made him beautiful.
They told me that I could go in and see Michael for just a few minutes. It was just overwhelming, all the machines and the tubes. And Michael was leaning all the way sideways in this tilt bed. It was really scary, but I just felt so good just to see him. You're gonna be okay. I love you. You're gonna be okay.
Over the next 5 days, Michael drifted in and out of consciousness.
I love you. I love you, baby. Every day I would go in, I would take his middle 2 fingers and I would bend them down, and his hand is flat on the bed, and I would make the I love you sign.
Open your eyes if you can hear me. Open your eyes. You can do it. He opened his eyes, and he just looked at me, and I just started crying. It seems to me that I got a little bit of a smile, and then my heart just jumped.
I can't do it.
Call it wishful thinking, call it a deep inner faith. But my wife and I just felt that when he got back, he was going to be back at full strength.
Michael began a grueling regimen of therapy to learn how to speak and walk again.
Can you wave to her? Wave to her. Not me. That's Kim. This way. Francis got bright yellow flowers on her shirt.
When Michael first went down to rehab, I stood and watched for a while.
You don't want me to do it. You hold
And I couldn't watch it because there were so many things at that point that Michael could not do that I knew he wanted to do.
Say one of me or two.
All through this whole thing, I always told him, give 150%.
You have double vision?
If they tell you to bend your arm 3 times, give him 5. And he did.
It's already recording? Hello, everyone. It's July 13th, a Tuesday, 1993. This is Mike. I'm back. Everything's fine.
I had many troopers coming in just to visit to see how Mike was doing, and I was trying to put on a show, letting everyone know that, hey, I can do this. I'm tough enough to handle this. I'm going to call the Red Bull in the front pocket.
It's been 2 years since the accident.
He's exactly like he was before the accident, except his leg. He's a card, man. He's a jokester. I like locking horns with him.
That's my play.
Your table. I got to play by your rules.
And I'm hoping that he'll come back onto the force, wearing the badge, doing the job again. I think that will be quite a day to behold.
I consider Michael a miracle. I consider my baby a miracle. We feel like we've been really blessed.
Okay. He wants to feed the cat to the horsey.
I'm so thankful that we're okay. I pray to God every day, but I can honestly say I don't know if we'd be here if we didn't wear our seatbelts. I think that was very important that we had our seatbelts on.
Hey, Bobby.
Yeah, it's okay.
There were a whole lot of people that saved my son's life, and I thank every one of them.
You be the professional carrot feeder for the horse.
That and Michael's determination. He's one hell of a determined kid.
Look at the little baby. I'm here. I'm fine. I'm healing.
You're doing good.
I could have lost a lot, but I didn't. Thank God.
Come on. All right, more. Look at the handstand.